Welcome to the Choose Happiness podcast. I am over the moon to introduce you to my guest today. She is a phenomenal yoga and mindfulness instructor and the founder of Yoga My Mind, which provides mindfulness and movement for kids and teens. And I'm extra excited because today she's going to share with us some practices that we can use when life gets overwhelming. Sound familiar? Or if we need to recenter, calm ourselves, and connect with safety and peace. So please welcome my guest today, Amy Rollins.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for having me. I'm so honored to be here. And hopefully people will leave here today with some tools to help to find their calm in the chaos. That is really my goal.
Thank you. I'm raising my hand for the first person who needs some calm among the chaos.
We all do. We all do. We all do.
So you were an elementary and middle school classroom teacher, and you have a master's degree in special education, a BA in speech pathology and audiology, plus seven certifications in yoga and mindfulness teaching. Wow, I am extremely impressed. Plus, you wear hats like wife, mom to three girls, daughter, aunt, friend, all of which you take very seriously. Let's start by asking, why do you really enjoy this type of work to help students and students specifically?
So I always struggled. I'm going to start with that. I think that if people who I grew up with saw and knew what I'm doing now, teaching yoga and mindfulness, I would probably have been the least likely person to be doing this. I was the person who literally pulling out my old report cards would say, Amy needs to learn to pay attention. Amy is practicing staying still in her seat, and we're working on it. And I'm not even joking with you when I say that. Like growing up, people didn't use the word ADD, that wasn't a thing. Um, I had had some testing in third grade and they diagnosed me with selective attention. If I want to pay attention to something, I can. And if I don't have any interest, then I don't. So it's kind of been like a journey, right? From the time I was a kid with struggling with that. Um, and then I went to school, became a special educator, went through all of that training, had many aha moments about my own life and learning. And then I had three daughters. And at the time when I started this journey, they were 8, 12, and 15. Okay. So it was the time in my life at those ages of three daughters where they were all experiencing different emotions. They're all so different, and helping them navigate the world even before it got as crazy as it is now. Um, so many kids have so much anxiety. And I first really had this epiphany when I was in a yoga class, and there was a children's yoga teacher that also taught in this studio who I really look up to. Loved the work she did. And when I was in Shavasana, which is, if you're familiar with Shavasana, at the end of a yoga practice, there's a time of relaxation where you're focusing on your breath and you're just letting your body go. And I got in my head in a way, in a beautiful way, that was almost like a gift, where I realized that at that moment during that practice, that was really the only time I was slowing down and paying attention to my breath, paying
Mm.
attention to how I was feeling, and being able to find my calm. And thought, wow, wouldn't that be awesome if I could share this with kids? I'm always struggled to find my calm, right? And almost in the same way that kids struggled. And I felt like if I, the least likely person to find her calm, can find my calm, I want to give this to others. So that began this journey of going through multiple trainings. And when you said 7 trainings, it's always to find things I can connect to, right? It wasn't like I feel like, oh, I need all of these certifications. It's finding programs or finding things from each program that resonate with me that I can
Mm,
authentically share with others.
mm. Oh, I love that. And I so appreciate you saying that. And it's so true that kids, I don't remember having anxiety as a kid the way kids today have anxiety when there's just this bombardment of social media and having to look a certain way and do certain things and that need to be accepted. Plus, I never knew what was going on in the world. I have to say, I probably could have told you, like, I think so and so is president right now, but we were just playing and doing our thing. And I feel like kids today just they know so much about the world, which is good in one sense. But on the other hand, if it's making us crazy, it's making them crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it is really heartbreaking because when you think about it, we had to go to the end of our driveway to get the newspaper. I literally had like a few television stations. I didn't even have cable growing up. Television went off at a certain time. Your friends had to write you notes,
Yes.
right? Or you had to wait to use the phone. And when you used it, it was like attached to a cord and people could hear your conversation, right?
Right.
So now, even like these Amber Alerts, even like when all of these phones go off, kids are never disconnected.
Hmm.
And um, I tried really hard. Even now, my 16-year-old, who's my only one left at home, her cell phone and her iPad are charging in our room at night
Mhm.
because I don't want this staying up all night, looking at things, getting alerts. I don't know what she's scrolling through at night, and there's no settling down from that.
Mm.
So there's no escape. And like you said, how we look, looking at others, kids scrolling through social media, seeing kids, it's so sad. It's so sad. So it's understandable where this anxiety comes from for adults and for kids.
Mm.
And it's really heartbreaking. So we need to just find ways to reconnect with the world around us and disconnect to the world on our phones
Mm.
sometimes.
Brilliant. That may be going on my mirror, I think. That's,
Really, really. I know
yeah.
we all need it. We all need it. It's a practice, right? I mean,
Hmm.
even for me, I teach it, but I have to remind myself too, like,
Hmm.
put it down, put it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in a way, I think it's easier for our generation who didn't grow up with it. We're able to put it down a little more easily, but for the kids who have never known the world without social media and a phone in your pocket, I think it becomes this tether that they just have to, so I'm very thankful that you do the work you do to help kids, really. Thank you.
Thank you. And what you just said, I had a conversation. My middle daughter was the last one of her friends to get Snapchat or something like that. And she did, or maybe it was Instagram, I don't remember, but she did a PowerPoint presentation over COVID to kind of advocate for this. And we gave in. And what she told me during that presentation is like, this is connection for them, right? Their form of connection is different than our form. So if you're not on Snapchat as a freshman in high school, she felt like she was left out of so much. And really, her world did open up in a different way after she got on it. And as sad as that is, it it did. It did change some of her social life and open it up a little more. So it's a different world,
It
Rachel. I'm telling
is.
you.
That's so
I know.
interesting.
I
And I guess
know.
it does come down to because it is out there and if we try to the protect isn't the right word, but if we don't allow them to communicate in the way that their generation is doing, then we are doing them a disservice. I guess it comes down to using these mindfully and
Exactly.
purposefully, right?
Exactly, exactly. And also being really cautious with the way in which you communicate, right?
Mm,
Because I know different tones can come out in text. Then
mm.
I'm very sarcastic. You can't communicate sarcasm at times over text, right? You have to be
Yes.
really careful to reread
Hmm.
what you wrote and how it might be perceived. So, I talk to my kids about that a lot.
That's correct. And that's a
Yeah.
great lesson for all of us.
For
Yeah.
all of us, right? Yeah.
Mhm. Oh, you're brilliant. On your website, on your
You're
website,
too kind.
you say, you say your approach to teaching is inspired by your various training and experiences with the Little Flower Yoga five element methodology at its core, which I loved reading about. And
Yeah.
as I read it, I thought this makes so much sense. Can you explain these five elements and why they're
Yes.
so important?
Yes. So
Thank you.
this training, thank you. This training was so comprehensive, and that's what I loved about it. It's a trauma-informed training, really developed in 2006 by Jennifer Harper Cohen, who was also a school teacher and parent. And I connected with this so, so much. The five elements are connect, breathe, move, focus, and relax. And the idea is really to incorporate these five elements into teaching. So, connecting with yourself, how you're feeling internally, and your external environment, breath, which is, I can talk about breath forever. Really the like breath to me and what I've learned about it is so critical to our functioning and our well-being. And I'll get back to that after I run through these. Movement, connect, breathe, move is just like your basic asana, yoga poses, using like the mind, body, and breath to flow through different poses and get movement and mindfully pay attention to how you're moving. um, Focus, right? How do we tune out this external chatter and focus on what's in front of us? And relaxation, just how do we like release tension in our body and
Mm,
just be and just be.
wow.
So I love it and I connect with that so much because the first training I went through, and many children's yoga teachers may have been through a training that was like one weekend of training, and then they're going out and teaching. But this was like three levels of training for Little Flower Yoga. And it involved a lot of reading, a lot of Daniel Siegel books. I love Daniel Siegel. If you've ever read any of his books, Brainstorm, um, the Mind Sight, and there's like all of these that talk about like how our brain works.
Mm,
And that was involved. We had to do a lot of student teaching, and it was all about trauma informed training.
mm,
And one thing that this might be kind of going off a little, but I loved this and I really want to share this with people who are listening that I really, really loved is I've taken yoga classes for years, and yoga teachers might say something like, if you want to challenge yourself, or maybe even beyond yoga, right? If you want to challenge yourself, try it this way. Okay. Think about like anything in your life, right? If you want to challenge yourself, well, when people hear that, I'm a pretty competitive person with myself,
mhm.
and I want to challenge myself. I don't want to be the one who's not balancing, that
Yeah.
way. Um, but everybody's body is different, right? And some things that when a yoga instructor says, if you want to challenge yourself, try it this way, that's not accessible to everybody.
Mm,
And you can injure yourself.
mhm.
So one of the things they taught us, which I loved, and I use this one even when I talk to adults, is if you want to experience this in a different way, right? That was like a huge aha moment in life. You don't need to challenge yourself, right? That's trauma informed training. If you want to experience it in a different way, because if you do a tree pose with your leg all the way up, or if you do a tree pose with your foot down on the ground, you're getting the same benefits. You're
Hmm.
getting the same benefits. Okay. You're just experiencing it a different way. So hold on to that because that really resonated with me. And I carry that with many things I'm doing. Challenge yourself to the ability you can move and challenge yourself, and you want to challenge yourself. But what is challenging to you might be different for somebody else. So
Mm.
that was part of the training that I learned a lot from this training. It really connected and resonated with me.
Wow.
So yeah, yeah. So
That's
I don't even know where I
incredible.
was going with that, but
And,
yeah, yeah.
and what's amazing about when you first said if you want to challenge myself, my first thought was, this is hard enough. I don't want to challenge myself,
Right, right,
which then I
right.
think cuts us off from opportunities. So just that little change in wording,
Yeah.
wow.
I know. I know. So there were a lot of aha moments in this particular training.
Hmm.
So many aha moments. Again, I've been through all of these trainings. I'm waiting for other aha moments, and I've had some, but this training in particular gave me so many aha moments.
Mm.
Um, like with the breath. So I don't know if, so you have these two governing bodies of your brain, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. And your parasympathetic nervous system is what controls your body functions.
Hmm.
When your parasympathetic nervous system is taken over, it's all of the systems in your body are working well, right? That's the rest and digest.
Mm.
And when the sympathetic nervous system takes over, that's your amygdala, that fight, flight, freeze.
Mm.
And this was another thing I had really that really resonated with me through this training and connecting the breath component, which I said I absolutely just learned so much. So sometimes and many times with kids and adults, your brain kind of gets stuck in that sympathetic nervous system space,
Mm.
right? Where you are feeling anxious, maybe overstimulated. Kids might be in an overstimulating environment, or you've experienced trauma or stress, and that sympathetic nervous system's taking over, and you're feeling stress and tension. You might have digestive issues.
Mm.
There might be other things happening. And how do we flip that switch when we
Mm.
have this stress in our bodies to function normally?
Hmm.
Because stress affects so many systems in our body. So, this breathing practice and this epiphany of how your breath can help shift your brain from this sympathetic to parasympathetic state
Mm.
was so fascinating to me.
Hmm.
So, I'm just going to talk about that for a moment.
Please.
The the when your sympathetic nervous system is active, you're breathing often in and out through your mouth. That is how you're breathing. Think about when you're hyperventilating, when you're really upset and you're trying to catch your breath because you're trying to get in as much as you can for that fight, flight, freeze, right? Because
Mm.
that's when the adrenaline kicks in. And when our sympathetic nervous system, if we want to try to flip the switch on that, you breathe in and out through your nose. That's where
Mm.
the air is warm and filtered. Okay.
Okay.
So when you're feeling stress and you're feeling that heart racing and you're feeling like you can't find your calm, and it's a practice,
Hmm.
practice breathing in and out through your nose
Mm.
slowly and notice how your body feels. And it's like a beautiful shift with practice and a
Mm.
great thing to teach kids. when they're feeling like they can't find their calm. It's not easy, it's a practice, and it doesn't always immediately shift. But if you learn how to recognize when you are feeling that sympathetic nervous system come into
Mhm.
play, and you remind yourself about this breathing practice and try it, it can be life changing for many people.
Wow.
Yeah,
One of the things I love about that is a student can be sitting in their at their desk at school feeling overwhelmed. They can quietly do that to themselves without anybody else knowing. So it's their
a
own kind of
million percent.
private practice that they can do to just keep themselves calm. It's not tapping, it's not anything big, or it's just
Right.
returning to the self. And I didn't know that about the breathing through your nose. That's incredible.
I
I've heard
know.
the in through
I
the nose,
know.
out through the mouth, but the in through the nose and
Right.
out through the nose, I've not heard of.
Yes. And you can do the in through the nose and slowly out through the mouth. And some people experience those same calming effects. But as with what I said with experiencing poses in different ways,
Hmm.
I don't like to tell people how things are going to make them feel. And this is
Mm,
also trauma informed training. So if you say to a student, this breath will energize you.
mm,
Well, what's wrong with me? It's not energizing me, right? A
right.
kid might not connect with that breath. Maybe it makes them exhausted. So
Mm,
I often say when I teach, think about how you feel normally before the practice, and then notice how you feel after. And
mm.
think about where in your life you can use this to help you.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's something because I feel like people often tell us how we're supposed to feel and things that are going to make us feel better. And they don't work for everyone,
That's right. And
right? They don't.
and then we get into what's wrong with me? Why isn't this making me feel better? They said it was going to make me feel better, and that only adds to the anxiety.
Right, right. And then
Yes.
they're ruminating in their heads,
Yes.
which is completely the opposite of what we want. And even Shavasana, which is supposed to be relaxing, isn't relaxing for everyone.
Hmm.
So there are things people will connect with, and there are other things that they won't connect with. And the idea, and what I always try to convey with my teaching, is that there's no right or wrong. There's no right or
Mm,
wrong.
hmm.
You need to do what's comfortable for you. I never make anybody participate or try anything. As long as they're not distracting other people, they can just be. If they
Mm,
need to roll around on their mat and their kids, and that's what they need, or even adults, go for it.
yeah.
Get what you need out of this, right?
Yeah.
But not at the expense of someone else's peace.
That's
But
right. Right.
really, it's different for everyone.
It really is. And
So,
something that I love about your teaching is I've been to some yoga classes, and for me, I'm not very flexible. So it became go from this pose to this pose to this pose. And oh, my hamstrings are tight. I can't do that, And it almost felt like an exercise in self-judgment instead of what it was
yeah,
supposed to be, which is supposed to be this flowing practice. So that's why I really appreciate what you do, which is take what you can from what I'm telling you, take what works for you, experience it however you can, and then hopefully everybody walks away feeling calmer, more refreshed, more mindful, as opposed to, boy, I just messed that up.
yeah. And if you ever walk into a yoga class and you feel like you're being judged on anything, that is the wrong yoga class to be in because really yoga is about trying to connect with yourself and your breath. It's not about judgment. It's
Hmm.
about being able to just be with yourself and your breath. And it should never be about judgment. And I will teach you something because you said you're not flexible, which I said to my soccer players that I work with. Um, Everybody's bodies are different. So I joke because I don't consider myself flexible and I can touch my toes, but I have a really long torso And I have really short legs. So I can probably touch my toes because my torso is long and I can reach my feet, right? But a
Right.
lot of these soccer players, their legs are really long. So when I'm touching my toes and they can't touch their toes, it's not that I'm more flexible. I'm not giving myself that credit. Our
Hmm.
bodies are just all different. They're
Mm.
all different. We're not going to be able to do what Susie, the yoga instructor up there, might be able to do, but we can do what we can do, and we can watch ourselves improve and grow in mind and body without judging
Hmm.
ourselves and without worrying about judgment from the external environment.
I think you just changed my life. I really
Aw, I hope I
do.
did. I hope I
That
did.
was really helpful.
I hope I did.
Well, while we're talking about breath, can you lead us through some of your tried and true breathing exercises and mindfulness
Sure.
exercises? Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so I have a couple that I will share with you. One of them that I love doing with my kids, and this is an amazing practice, even when you wake up in the morning. For you, for me, I do this when I wake up in the morning, and that's balloon breathing. And I love this because when you think about stretching in the morning and getting up and make it intentional, right? Make it intentional. So in order to do that, I find a comfortable seated position. I like to begin always by grounding my hands on my knees just to have a place to go. I'll lift my shoulders up and roll them down my back. So I'm sitting up nice and tall, but also comfortable. And you can close your eyes if you want. You can gaze down at the ground, whatever is comfortable for you. You can leave your eyes open. And I take a deep breath in through my nose. I'm going to bring my hands to my belly to show you this too. You can bring your hands to your belly if you want. And I'm going to connect my middle fingers just so you could see the expansion
Okay.
in my stomach when I take a deep breath in, filling my belly up with air and out. You can just let that breath out through your mouth slowly and curl your shoulders in. So, really, when we do balloon breathing, there's a few different motions to it. So, it's a deep breath in, you bring your shoulders back, open up your heart, bring your belly out. And exhale, you kind of curl in. So if you do yoga, it's kind of like cat and cow with your body and breath.
Mhm.
Okay. So it's a deep inhale, opening up your heart and an exhale and bringing it in. And I'll show you the motion with my hands that I do. And when you bring it in, bring like chin to chest, just kind of curl in. So it can look like this. All right. So a deep inhale, you can reach your arms out with the inhale, opening up your body, feeling that stretch, bringing your hands back, and exhale. Give yourself a great big hug, pressing your fingerprints on your back, curling in. Just you can rock back and forth if you want. And then the inhale again. Inhale, reach your arms out, and you can do opposite arm on top this time. Give yourself a great big hug. Curl in, press in, and then come to bring your hands down. And you can run through that a few times. And it's like the inhale, filling your belly up with air, opening up your heart, letting yourself just be open to the world. You can feel a great stretch here, opening your body up, and then giving yourself a hug because who doesn't need a hug in the morning, right?
I'll say.
So it's running through that. It's just giving yourself a comfortable, heart opening breath in the morning.
Mhm.
And I just kind of started with this to show you the expansion because it's called balloon breathing because you blow your belly up like a balloon. And
Mhm.
then it's the deflating, right? With
Mhm.
the exhale. So the inhale and the exhale. And you can run through that as many times as you want. It's a great morning stretch. And again, notice how it makes you feel. I think it's a great morning stretch. Maybe it doesn't feel like a great morning stretch or breath for you. For me, it's energizing. I
Mhm.
like it. It's a great way to start the day. I like intentionally reaching my arms out. It feels good to open up because sometimes we're so down like this. It's a
Mhm.
great heart opening for your shoulders, for your pecs. So, balloon breathing, love that personally. That's one of my
Mhm.
favorites. And I know you had commented once before on the bumblebee breathing.
Mhm.
I have my AirPods in, which makes it a little complicated, but
Okay.
this breathing practice, which I think is important to share because I love it as a reset. It
Hmm.
is a practice where if kids are going through a tough time, or even adults, and you have a lot of things going on in your head and you need to shut the world out, okay, this is a great breathing practice to reset. It is not a great breathing practice to necessarily do in front of a group of people because it really is can be a little insulting to them maybe. But it's a great breathing practice that helps you clear your mind. And I'm going to, I guess I won't take off my glasses for this, but bumblebee breathing is you take a deep inhale through your nose and your exhale is humming it out. So I will show you what that looks like without the second part of that. And
Mhm.
it's just breathing in through your nose. And the exhale is, mm,
Mm.
as long as you can hold that exhaling hum,
Okay.
okay? So, what we do for this is we take our hands, if this is comfortable for you, and you can cover your eyes. And then, actually, before you do that, I'm
Okay.
sorry, Rachel,
That's
you
okay.
have this little flap of skin here.
Hmm.
Okay, that I'm losing my AirPods. That if you press into your ears, it will cover up your hearing. So you take that flap of skin and you kind of cover your ear canal with it. Okay,
Okay.
and we're going to do that with our thumbs. So it's going to be taking a deep breath in, you're covering your eyes, pressing that tragus cartilage into your ears when you do this practice. So it's a deep inhale. And then your exhale is that long hum while you're pressing that cartilage gently, gently,
Okay.
not so it hurts, right? To cover the opening of your ears. And don't press hard on your eyes, okay? Just
Okay.
rest it on top of your eyes because you don't want to be seeing spots when you finish this breathing
That's
practice,
exactly
right?
what I was doing. I was pressing too hard on my eyes.
I'm so sorry. I should have given you those instructions
No, no,
before.
no.
Okay, so
Okay.
we'll do this together and you
Okay.
can feel what this experience feels like. So,
Okay.
taking a deep breath in and the exhale. And then you can slowly open your eyes. So, you can do that a few different times, but it's kind of like a really crazy feeling, right?
That was instantly calming.
Yeah.
Like the second
Yeah.
I started and the whole way through, it was just this beautiful,
I
wow.
know. I know. And I
Yeah.
think that when I do that with a group of students, they're all kind of looking around, seeing if other people are doing it because it feels a little uncomfortable because you're so in your own space, unless you're in your own space doing
Yes.
it. Then
Right.
it is just like, it's like this instant reset. It's like
Hmm.
tuning out the thoughts in your head as well as the external environment and just being.
Hmm.
So I love that with kids when they just need a reset. It
Hmm.
helps, it can help them to find their calm in the storm that they're going through.
Yes, I see myself
So,
using this daily. Thank you for that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes. And then I'm going to share one more with you because, like I talked about with the shift from the sympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system, heart and belly breathing. So if you bring your right hand to your heart and your left hand to your belly, and just sitting up really nice and tall, closing your eyes or gazing down, and taking a moment just to notice your breath and where you feel your breath. And then intentionally taking a deep breath in through your nose, filling your belly up with air, and traveling that breath all the way up to your heart. And then out of your heart, and out of your belly. So it's breathing in and out through your nose. Okay. So you're going to fill up your belly with air first, traveling that breath all the way up to your heart, and then out of your heart and out of your belly. And trying a few rounds of that and noticing how this breath makes you feel. Bringing your hands back down. And that's the shift. That's the shift. So when you need it, and when you need to find your calm, and you're going through a rough time, and you're feeling like your heart is beating really fast, and you don't have control over how you're feeling, just that simple heart and belly breathing
Mhm.
can shift that breathing in and out through your nose. So, yeah,
It's interesting because the bumblebee breath really made me feel very calm, very kind of zen, all is right with the world. And this made me feel calm, but it also made me feel really strong, like I can handle whatever's coming my way.
that's awesome.
And that's
That's
really
awesome.
fascinating that
That's
the two things
awesome.
are both for calm, but they affected me in such different ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is something so important to remember too, going back to no one can tell you how something is supposed to make you feel, right?
Hmm.
So you found that breath to be empowering. That is
Hmm.
awesome. So hold on to that feeling and think about when you can use that again, when you need that feeling of calm and empowerment at the same time. So that's how I teach, right? So that people take notice of how they're feeling, not just running through things. And even when I teach yoga, I do the same thing. I don't just teach movement like a yoga class, like you might traditionally go to. It's just more like pausing and noticing, bringing that mindfulness component into every practice.
Hmm.
That's really because mindfulness is really being present in the moment, non judgmentally,
Hmm.
right? Not
Hmm.
judging what's going on around you, not judging yourself, not judging if you hear certain sounds, what they are, just noticing and
Hmm.
being present.
Hmm.
So I find it is so incredibly helpful. And really, my goal is to teach tools that you can learn maybe on the mat or in a classroom or on a field and take off into your life and help you in other ways.
Yes, because that really is the point. We don't want to utilize these mindfulness techniques in the class and then say, okay, well, next time I go to class, I'll do that. It really is
Right,
for life.
right, right,
Yeah. So you mentioned doing the balloon breath in the morning, and I find there are some mornings when my feet hit the floor and it's just like, go. Can you
right.
explain your concept of mindful mornings, which I
Yes,
love?
sure,
Thank you.
sure. Well, first of all, I have shared with people this before. First, it begins with your alarm, right? So, how are you waking up in the morning and what is the sound you are waking up to? Okay.
Mm.
I feel like my daughter wakes up to what sounds like a carbon monoxide detector because that is the only way she wakes up in the morning to this loud alarm. And if I hear that when she's home, it is not a good way to start the day. I feel like my heart is racing and I need some serious heart and belly breathing because that is just trauma to me,
Yes.
that sound. So I have like a chime alarm and I'm able to wake up to that again. It's not going to work for everyone, but that's the first thing I do. If you're waking up and you feel like you're waking up and it's go, 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 set your alarm to wake up earlier so that
Mm.
you have more time to
Hmm.
just breathe and have your mornings. And if you can't, go to bed earlier so that you can wake up earlier.
Hmm.
And also, I don't pop straight up out of bed in the
Mm.
morning because that can give you the head rush. One thing that I do, another practice, and this goes along with the relaxation part of it, is this tense and let go meditation practice. And all that involves, and you can do this anytime, anywhere, is tensing up different parts of your body, body part by body part, and letting it go, relaxing it. So if it's curling up your toes and tensing them up and then letting them relax, flexing your feet, tensing up your feet and your legs and letting them relax, and just kind of moving up your body, tensing every part of your body in the end and letting it go and just noticing how you feel after you do. It's kind of like a body scan with the tense and relax.
Mm,
And if you notice at the end that you're still feeling tension somewhere, tense it up again and feel it let go. Just that
mm,
act of doing that, that's what I do before I actually pop out of bed in the morning, just bringing awareness to all parts of my body. That's like a mindfulness meditation practice. And then I roll to the side to get out of bed. I'm
mm,
very intentional with the way I get out of bed. And I do not go on to my phone except to shut my alarm clock off because number one, that will make for very unproductive mornings, a very
mhm.
unproductive start to your day. If there's some emails you're waiting for, get up, go through your routine before you have to check your phone. People say they don't have time for mindfulness or meditation in the morning. You can do it in the shower. You can
Mm,
take a shower mindfully, paying attention to the shampoo in your hair and how you're scrubbing your hair and how you're soaping up your body. You can make that a meditative practice.
mm,
You can make brushing your teeth a meditative practice and bring mindfulness to that. So it doesn't always have to be sitting in quiet and a lot of people have a hard time sitting in quiet. I get that. I
mhm,
get that. Um, so you can kind of turn anything into a mindfulness practice, eating your
mhm,
breakfast, drinking your coffee, drinking your tea.
mhm,
Um, but I think that noticing your feet on the floor when you get out of bed, having
mm,
gratitude for that journey, right? Being able
mhm,
to wake up in the morning, gratitude for that. So just waking up with gratitude, keeping your phone down, nothing good is coming out of that first thing in the morning, right?
yes,
And
yes.
getting through at least the routine you need to get through because we can get lost in our phone if
Mhm,
we don't.
mhm,
So those are my mindfulness practices in the morning. And again, it's a practice. It doesn't always go that way. Sometimes I wake up and I'm thinking, is my daughter in class? Did she get home last night? And you want to check your phone.
mhm,
And I get that. I do that too. But
mhm,
ideally, it would be great if we could just leave it until we worked through our mornings.
mhm. And I feel like setting that intention, even if we are mindfully showering and we're doing a great job, and then our minds go off into anxiety or something, it's like, but okay, I can bring myself back. The intention of doing it is different than just the, okay, day starts, gotta go. You just, that's such a gift to ourselves that we can say, I'm
Yes.
intentionally gonna do this mindful morning today and see how it
And
goes.
listen, I'm really glad you brought that up because what is so important to remember is that your mind is going to wander. It's going to wander. Being mindful does not mean you are attentive and focused and present all the time. No way. I don't know anyone who could do that. Maybe they can. I certainly can. I have such a wandering mind. But the key, and again, thank you for bringing that up, is that when your mind wanders, noticing without judgment. Don't
Mm,
be hard on yourself when your mind wanders. Noticing it is being mindful and trying to bring it back because
mm.
I can go through that so many times again and again and again. Noticing, bringing it back, noticing, bringing it back. It is going to be a lifelong practice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what being mindful is about. That is mindful when your mind wanders. It's
Mm.
noticing and then being able to reel it in.
That's wonderful to hear because for people who who like to achieve, it'll be like, okay, I'm going to do a mindful shower today. And then the mind wanders and it's like, no, I failed. And, it automatically goes to self-judgment. So knowing that even it wandering and the noticing of it wandering is okay. It's part of the
Yeah.
practice.
It's part of the practice. That's why it's called a practice, right? We're not
Right.
trying to get anywhere. It's forever a practice. It's
Mm.
forever a practice. It's mindfulness is a practice. There
Hmm.
is no perfect in mindfulness. And it looks different for everyone, and everyone does it differently. A lot of people might sit and meditate in quiet, and that is a good meditative practice for them if they want to sit and focus on their breath for as long as they can. That can be very calming and helpful. There's also a single pointed focus meditation, which is paying, you could do this in nature, finding something that's your point of focus that you're looking at. And when you wander away from that, bringing it back to that point of focus, that can be a
Mm.
meditation. You could do that out in nature. You could do that in your home.
Hmm. I
Some people do
love
that
that
with
idea.
candles. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Need to write a book or do videos on all of this because it's
Oh,
so helpful.
you're so
No,
kind.
really.
You're so kind. My intention really is to just share these tools
Mm.
that hopefully will help somebody at some point, right?
And what I really appreciate about you is I do feel like people will stress mindfulness, and the problem with this, they will say, in order to achieve calm, you have to meditate 20 minutes a day. And that's daunting, and
Yeah.
I can't, I certainly can't do that, but your approach
Yeah.
is so do what feels
Yeah.
good for you, do what you can, do what works for you. And that's such a more gentle and non-judgmental approach, which I really resonate with. That's
Thank you. Thank
wonderful.
you. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's always something to work up to. Like if you want to learn to meditate and just be, right? And you want to practice that act of meditation, you can start very slowly, even with a 3 minute, and then move up to five, and then move up to seven. How,
Mm,
whatever works for you is what works for you,
right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I don't, it's
wonderful.
hard for people, I feel like, especially as we get older, to be told what will work for them,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And it's hard for kids to be told that because
Mm-hmm.
then you do have that switch that's like, what's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
My mind wanders all the time. I could be sitting in my room and I'm thinking, oh, I really need to spackle that crack on the wall, right? Like you could get
Right.
distracted by the space you're in, right? So
Yes.
it's good to close your eyes
Yeah.
or to gaze down and to just be and to ground your hands because I feel like I often talk with my hands and
Mm.
to just find like a spot for them to rest and lay.
Mm.
But yeah, it looks different for everybody.
That's wonderful. I've heard about grounding one's feet, but I also love this grounding of the hands because again, like they're on my knees right now. It instantly j just makes you settle. Just that
Yeah,
one tiny act, and then you can start breathing after that.
yeah,
So we've got our mornings tackled. Thank you very
yes,
much.
yes, yes.
The other night, I could not fall asleep. It was one of those where tossing, turning, eyes open, eyes closed, etc. I believe you have a practice that can help us with that. Is that the cognitive shuffling?
So thank you. So
Yes.
yes, so cognitive shuffling is definitely one practice that I found can be helpful, and that was a concept developed by a cognitive scientist, this Dr. Luc Baudouin. And it's coming up with a word, like a random word in your head, like come up with a word that doesn't have repeated letters in it. Like, give me
Oh,
a word.
I'm looking at a picture of a leaf. Leaf is the word.
Okay, leaf, right. So when you're laying in bed, it's a word game. You think of all of the words you can think of that begin with the letter L and then visualize those in your head, okay? So
Mhm.
as you're trying to fall asleep, and they're random words. So it could be leak, it could be laugh, or love or leather, just any random words, as many words as you can think of until you run out of L words and
Mhm.
those visualizations in your head. And then move on to E and think of as many E words as you can and visualize those in your head and go through the word. And hopefully, then you will have fallen asleep. If you
Mm.
haven't, you can come up with another word and it distracts your mind from any thoughts that might be ruminating in your head, because often that's what keeps us awake at night, things we're thinking of, things we can't let go of, what we need to do the next day. And they're just kind of these random words and visualizations. And
Mm.
that has helped me. I also try to have a relaxing decaffeinated tea at night. I've made that part of my evening practice. Um, I've found one personally that I don't, Twinings or Bigelow, one of those that's also a sleep tea. It
Mm.
helps to calm your body at night. So I do that. And then when I get in bed, I do again that tense and let go practice of that body scan and feeling my body release tension before I go to bed. So I'm not focusing on areas where I'm carrying stress and tension because I've already gone through the practice of letting them go.
Mm.
And again, with the phone,
Mhm.
that is a really tough thing too,
Mm.
knowing when to shut it down. And if there's people in your life that are important that you want to break through the silence, because you might be waiting for a call from your daughter or something, you can make them in breakthrough mode so they could
Mhm.
break through the silence and settings, and you can just shut off, like put your phone in that do not disturb mode or have it set so that it shuts down. Mine shuts down at 10:15 and
Mm.
starts up again at 7 o'clock in the morning. And you don't have to worry about being disturbed by your phone at night and just put that away. We don't want to be watching the news before bed,
No, we
right?
do not.
No, we don't. Or first
Yes.
thing in the morning.
Oh, right.
No, no,
It will all
no.
still be there. It'll be there.
It will all still be there. It will.
You
It
know,
will.
it occurred to me that when we have babies and little kids, we do this very involved bedtime routine to calm them down, the bath, the stories, songs to calm
Yes,
them down for sleep. And yet we don't do that for ourselves as adults. And it's
it's
so
true.
helpful. Sometimes it's
It's
one of
true.
those, I'm half asleep on the couch. I drag myself in to brush my teeth and then I collapse. And then
I
sometimes
know.
you have nightmares because what did I just see before I fell asleep? And so if
I
we can
know.
carve out that ritual for us, it can just help. And then with the next, or that will help the next morning already.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
exactly. And also, then your nighttime routine, just like your morning routine, can be a mindfulness practice. Cleaning your face, brushing your teeth. Sometimes I'll be in these modes, these like, autopilot modes where if I'm not taking a mindful shower and my head is somewhere else, I won't even know if I put shampoo in my hair and I'll be doing it again. You could do that all the time with everything.
Yes.
Wait, did I eat? I'm still hungry. I wasn't paying attention if you're on the phone or doing something. And, just when you're on the phone and distracted, where did I park?
Hmm.
Where's my car? I was, just bringing it into your everyday life, that present moment awareness is helpful for you. And it's so respectful for those around you who you
Mm.
might bump into while your head is down, right?
Yes. That's so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That's, yes. Oh, I love that. Can you share some of your success stories about, I'm sure you've seen benefits of working with kids. Can you share some of the benefits that you've seen with your
Sure.
students?
Sure. So I've worked in camps. I've been working with a high school soccer team for 5 years now, balancing out like their training with mindfulness for me. And it's been awesome. And I've worked in some other environments too. And I feel like I love, love, love to hear. I've been in schools too, when students can come up to me really excited that they've tried, a certain breathing practice when they needed it and how it's helped them. And specifically with the soccer team, I really try to, again, give them tools that they can use on the field and off the field. When I do the practice with them, we're actually on yoga mats
Mm,
in a cafeteria or outside or in a gym when I work with the soccer camp. And my hope is that they'll use some of those tools on the field to help them find calm during the game or to help them energize themselves during the game because they need that adrenaline. And to also be able to use and cope when, maybe they didn't make the penalty kick or,
mm,
they need to bring their minds back to the game because the stands are going a little wild if we're playing a rival team and how to kind of bring your attention back into this space. So I've really heard from, some of my soccer kids that it's helped them with when they make their penalty kicks or sideline kicks or when they're standing on the sideline. One of the things we talk about is power posing and how
mm.
you hold your body. And this goes for adults and kids too. And I've gotten positive feedback from students I've taught, even in yoga studios, about how it can change your whole mindset, the way you hold your body, right? If you're going through a tough time and you are closing yourself off, you're often very closed in, right? Your shoulders are curved in. I talk about like kids walking through the hallway, looking down at their books. They don't want to engage in others around them. And the difference with shifting your posture, opening up your heart, looking up, pulling your shoulders back in your level of confidence, right? The feeling when you're kind of like curled in and the feeling when you open up. When you open yourself up, you're actually opening your heart up to others too. You're
Mm,
letting others know you're approachable rather than you could be the kindest kid in the world. And if you're walking around like this, nobody is necessarily comfortable approaching you because you feel like you don't want to be approached.
mhm.
Whereas if you're opening yourself up and you're looking around, or my students standing on the sidelines with their hands on their hips, or arms strongly at their sides, or hands up in the air, like that is an awesome morning practice. Waking up in the morning, standing like this for a few minutes, or like this in a really strong power pose with your feet
Mm,
apart, and just feeling super empowered with your heart open. There's nothing like that. So I've gotten a lot of good feedback from that. Our soccer team has made it to the state champion. They're state champs. I got this ring. You should see
ah,
it, Rachel. I look like I won the Super Bowl. I was so honored to be included in that. It has my
wow.
name on it.
Ah,
They are such rock stars, and it's beautiful. One of my yoga students wrote an article for the school paper about the benefits of mindfulness practice with me, and it was so touching. I
mm,
even have one of my students who graduated college has reached out to me for tips on transitioning to adulting and some tips that might help her to find her calm in this new world, right?
mhm.
Of what it's like to be an adult. And she began as one of my soccer students.
Wow.
It's awesome. It's awesome. So I really, that is, oh, I love the feedback. I love when people can have those aha moments that I had in my training and realize, wow, this really works. There's
Mm-hmm.
something to this. Yeah.
How wonderful. And you hear about professional athletes doing things like visualization and mindfulness. And I think when we come down to middle school and high school, we're not no one's getting paid to play soccer, so it
Yeah.
can be just this whole we get to practice and we run around and we do this and it's all this heightened sense of we have to win and we have to make every shot. And if you can help these poor kids who already have enough going on, it's like soccer or whatever it is shouldn't be another stress. But
Yeah.
sometimes it is because
Yeah.
that's how they go into it. So I love that
Exactly.
you're helping them and then they do take it with them from the field into their lives. What an
That's
amazing thing to
always the
share.
hope. That's
That's
always the hope. That's
yes.
always the hope. And the visualizations, like you said, like will do visualization practices of like how they want the game to play out in their head
Mm.
or imagining making that kick, right?
Right.
Um, and that's helpful with everything. That's helpful for kids before they take a test. That's
Mm.
helpful for us as we go into new situations, visualizing what we want it to look like, keeping it positive, and
Yes.
it almost help us like walk through it and become more comfortable with what we're walking into. And it can
Mm.
also help us. You can do visualizations at night when you're ready to go to sleep, visualizing like a, calm space, whether it's the ocean, there's so much you can do with it. I can talk forever about this. I'm sorry for bouncing all over. There's
No, it's
so
all
many
good.
tools. There's
I
so
have
many
learned
tools.
in a lot of things that I do just how powerful our minds are because we can get stuck in a thought that just help we spiral and we keep ruminating like you were saying, and that the practice of seeing the thought come in, acknowledging, accepting, and let it just go away has been so helpful because we do get in these maelstroms of think, and to tell ourselves a thought is just a thought. It doesn't have any mass, it doesn't have any color, it's just this ethereal thing, and yet it's so powerful. So,
It's so powerful. So, one practice I do also with my students is this idea of the thought river, like you were saying, having these thoughts come into your head and letting them go. So, having this visualization, and this is a focus practice where you are like sitting by a river. And when thoughts come into your head, imagine them like floating down the river. Every time a
mm,
thought, just put it in the river, let
oh,
it go, put it in the river, right? Or some people might connect more with the clouds, put it up in the clouds, right? So,
mhm,
whatever works for you, but we have so many thoughts coming through our heads during the day, and it's okay. Like, that is so normal. That
mhm,
means that we are functioning well. We
right.
sometimes think we're losing it when we have all of that, but that is normal. It is just about how we can be here when we have all of this going on here. How
Mm,
do we quiet this noise in our heads?
mhm,
Or for some kids, this external noise in the classroom to focus in on what is here. And the idea is to not ignore it,
mhm,
but to acknowledge it and let it go so we can be
mm.
here,
Yeah,
right? Even
otherwise
with the
it's a
noise.
fight otherwise.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So you need to come live with me. I'm just
Yeah.
putting that out
Oh
there.
my gosh, I'll love to come. I would love to come and live with you. Are you kidding me? You have a beautiful energy. I would love to
Oh,
be around that all the
thank
time.
you.
I'd love to be around that.
So in wrapping up, if somebody says this all sounds great, I can't, it's too daunting. I can't jump into a shower practice or something like that right away. Can you kind of give our listeners just one takeaway? What's one thing we can start today to start being more mindful?
I would just say, first of all, don't say you can't do it because
Ah,
I would
yeah.
be the same way, right?
Yes.
I seriously was the same way. If you had ever told me 20 years ago that this is what I would be doing, I would laugh. I am not somebody who can normally sit still. I am not someone who can normally quiet my mind. I would say the thing I feel like is the most important is the breath, is the
Mm,
paying attention to your breath and noticing the power of that.
hmm
I think that is just amazing.
hmm
I think really we're very disconnected because I was trying to find my phone because of the phones, right?
hmm
Because we just don't have any barrier on our phone use. So
hmm
I think that that's one mindful thing you can do is to pay attention to how often you're on your phone. But one thing that I always think of, and I think this is a mindfulness practice, and this will seriously make your world a little bit brighter. And I imagine you do this all the time because it's just who you are, is just keep your head up. when you're with other people. Make
Mm,
them feel seen. That's a mindfulness practice. When you're checking out at the grocery store and you're on your phone or looking down at your phone, be with the person in front of you. Thank them
mm,
for helping you.
mhm,
Um, wish them a beautiful day, and your day will get brighter. But
mm.
I promise that you can turn anything into a mindfulness practice, and it will not take 1 minute out of your day. And paying attention to what you're doing will actually give you more time in the day because maybe you're less likely to lose things because you're paying attention to the moment you're in. So you spend less time trying to find those things.
Yes,
But I
yes.
really, really think that shifting your breath and noticing and breathing in and out through your nose and giving yourself gratitude and giving yourself grace is really like an important first step.
Mm. Oh, thank you for
And
sharing
and
that.
end step too, you know.
Yes,
But
yes.
it's forever. This is a practice, and anybody can do it. Anyone can do it. It just might be done differently for everybody.
Right.
Whatever works for you is the right way to do it.
Oh, that brilliant, brilliant. And the part about the breath when I have done these kinds of things when I'm out in at Costco or whatever and things are getting overwhelming, it really only takes two or three times and it's like, okay, I'm back. So it
Yeah,
doesn't need to be daunting at all. And again, no one will know what you're doing. You just got your hands in your
right.
heart and you're breathing through your nose. And I think that's really important too, to know that it's so possible. It's right there for
Yes,
us. We just need to
it's right there.
yeah, exactly.
It's right
Exactly.
there. Or that tense and let go. That's so simple. And
Yes.
it brings this awareness to every part of your body. And you tense it up and you feel that tension letting go. You can
Mhm.
use that practice while you're sitting. You can do it while you're laying down. You can do it while you're standing up. Just
Mhm.
noticing and letting that tension go.
Yes, I'm picturing doing it under the table when there's difficult people. We'll just say that, right?
Totally, totally. Just tense up those fists and just let them
Yeah,
go. Just let them go.
I love
Exactly.
that.
Exactly, Rachel. Exactly.
So, where can people find
Exactly.
your beautiful website? We'll have a placard at the end
Oh,
of
you're
everything,
so
but
kind. You're so kind.
no.
So, Yoga My Mind, yogamymind.com is my website. And then I also have an Instagram page where I just share thoughts that come into my head. Some of them are mindfulness practices, some of them are personal experiences and stories. Um, Sometimes just random thoughts, but always with the intention of sharing something that might help someone else. And that is yogamymind.coach is my Instagram page. And yeah, hopefully
Everybody,
somebody will get something out of this today. And it was awesome talking to you always.
I have learned so much, and I feel like I sort of knew some of this stuff, but then the way you present it, I'm like, now I get it. Now I actually get it. And folks out there, her Instagram page is spectacular. We'll have a link.
Ah,
You
you're
got to
so
check it
kind. You're
out.
so kind.
Amy,
Thank you
thank
so
you, thank
much.
you,
Thank you.
thank you. This was
Ah, thank
wonderful.
you. Thank
Oh,
you.
mwah.
Thank you. Mwah to you. Thank you so much, Rachel. I really appreciate it.